Hi, I am here with Christine Langdon from the Good Registry, and we are talking all about purpose today, how to inject it into your brand and business. Quick confession from me before we start. We are streaming this live. It is pre-recorded, but I will be live in the chat. So if you have any questions, if you're watching this live, add them to the comments below and ask away. I promise you I will respond in real time. I'm here. I'm just down there. And if you are watching the replay, ask the questions anyway in the comments. I will endeavour to get back to everyone. So please engage. Welcome, Christine. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, we actually met years ago, I think. And we kind of, I've been a big fan of the Good Registry, and we kind of emailed back and forth for a bit, but this is actually the first time we're talking one-on-one, right?
Yeah, it's so nice to meet sort of in person again.
Sort of, yeah. It's crazy how that happens with the virtual world these days. I think there's so many people that you realize later, oh, I actually haven't spoken to them, or I haven't met them in person, and it's so
and
nice
you feel like you really know them, don't you? Yeah, totally. And yeah, definitely the case with you. I feel like I know you quite well.
Yeah. So tell us about the Good Registry. I'm really keen to hear where the idea came from, for the audience who don't know what you do, what's it all about, and what drove you, because we're talking purpose, what drove you to creating it?
Oh my goodness, so much in there. How about I start with where the idea came from? I had been working in a corporate role, and my role was as community manager. So I'd already kind of like had a career that had taken me towards wanting to do work with a positive social impact. But I left that role because I felt that kind of inner charge to do something else, and I didn't quite know what it was, but I wanted to create something that did good in the world that wasn't constrained by our strategy in our business that I was part of at the time. And after I left that role, I was doing a little bit of just creating space in my life to figure out what it was that I wanted to do next. I wasn't in any hurry to work it out. But I was doing some decluttering of the house, and I found underneath my stairs, that door behind me there, some gifts that I'd been given that I'd never ever used, including like wine glasses and that kind of thing. And as I was looking at them, it was that question that we often have of, do I throw them out? Do I give them away? Do I leave them sitting there for another 10 years? They've been there for 10 years already. And knowing that one day I might use them, so maybe I might as well keep them, but wouldn't it have been better if I'd never been given these wine glasses that I didn't need at all? And then if and when I do ever need more wine glasses, I can just go and buy some secondhand ones. That's just one example. There was also a drawer full of like Secret Santa type gifts that I'd kept thinking maybe I'd read them one day, complete junk. So I had that kind of feeling of, oh, I just wish I hadn't been given stuff that I now have to make the decision about whether to keep it or re-gift it or give it away, or definitely not throw it away. And then I had a birthday on top of that, and my mother asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And as so many of us do all of the time, I said to her, I really don't want or need anything, but I know that you're probably going to want to give me something. So if you must, then you could knit me some gloves, because my mother was a knitter. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd quite like some nice homespun gloves. And instead, she went to a department store. She bought some gloves that had been made overseas and packaged in plastic and made in a factory and shipped to New Zealand and wrapped them and packaged them in a big box and sent them to me in Wellington from her home in Tauranga. And when I opened them, I felt so sad that my mother had gone to the trouble of going into town and choosing a gift and buying something that had a pretty big footprint, and then taking it home and wrapping and packing and then
all with love.
Well, all with love,
the best intentions.
And there was so much in that, in terms of her time and the planet's resources and her resources and money. And for me to open a gift and be, I'm never going to wear these gloves, because they also happened to be men's fingerless gloves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I took them and I gave them to a homeless person on Courtney Place in Wellington.
Oh, amazing. I love that.
Yeah, but wouldn't it have been better if the money had just gone straight to a charity instead of all of that other effort from my mum and just all of the other consequences that go into gift production and packing and wrapping and waste. And that was where my aha moment was, that we could use the money that's being wasted on all of those unwanted gifts that are already under the stairs, and all of the new ones that are being bought, and have that money go to good causes that the person who would have received the gift would like them to go to instead. So the Good Registry was the answer. It's a gift platform where the gift recipient, the person who would have been receiving the gift, gets to choose charities that they would like the money to go to instead. And the purpose is threefold, really. It's the getting money to charities. Of course, we all know that charities need more money. It's also raising awareness of those charities. It's a way for people to find out about charities that they can support, that they otherwise might not, and all of the clutter and the noise around us and information that comes at us every day. It's reducing waste. All of the waste that went into the production and the packing and the wrapping and the shipping and the distribution of those gloves, as one example. And then it's giving people the joy of giving. People like me being able to feel great that we've supported a good cause, whether it be giving the gloves directly to a homeless person on the street or going onto the Good Registry and choosing which charities I want to support. There's a moment of joy in that for me, and it's really nice if I can do that with someone else's money instead of my own.
Yeah, totally. I think we were talking earlier at Christmas last year for our kids. You know, every year we've kind of done something new. I'm going to try and remember before. Something you wear, something you read, something you want, something you need. And we had a talk to the kids about what did they need. And they were all stumped. None of them could really work out what they needed. They knew what they wanted. They knew the difference. And so we had a conversation about actually how lucky you are that you don't need anything. So who do you think does? You know, and we talked about actually how we had let them choose their own charity, but actually going through the Good Registry would have been better for us, because we're now getting so much mail from those charities directly. You know, the donations weren't huge. Over time, that donation is actually going to go on mail. And what is the environmental impact of all of that mail as well, right? When we have such amazing virtual tools available to us, it's just a bit unnecessary, I think. So I love that about the Good Registry too, is that it's not about what matters to me, it's about what matters to the person I'm gifting it to. Yeah. And there is that moment of joy. So it works really well. So much great feedback from my customers and from speakers of my events that I've given it to. But I think also what you were talking about, you know, around having that moment in the corporate world, which is similar to me. And maybe that's why we feel, you know, we've met each other before, because same thing for me. I mean, gosh, 14 years ago now, I was working in an investment bank in London and ended up leaving there and feeling, you know, it was the middle of the GFC, feeling like actually that was not aligned with who I am or what my values were, and going traveling and then, you know, falling in love with this beautiful community in Cambodia and starting a children's charity. Still went back to corporate life after that, and still took me a while to realize that I couldn't, you know, I still had to align my values on a day-to-day basis. But I think there's a lot of people going through that, a lot of people questioning, are their values aligned with what they do on a day-to-day basis, and what is my purpose, and should, you know, is there more I could be doing, because there are so many issues out there, and not a whole lot of leadership, unfortunately. So you know, I feel, you know, the purpose of the Marketing Collective is to help the business community make that change, and lead a lot of these changes that we need in the world.
Yeah, so businesses for so much, and they can inspire everybody to do things differently, and their impact and through things like gift giving is massive. It's millions of dollars that are being spent on corporate gifts every year. And a lot of those gifts, again, are made offshore and shipped to New Zealand and come with all of the wrapping and packing. And often they've got a corporate brand on them, and people don't want to use a thing with a corporate brand on it.
Yeah, I mean, how many of those merchandise things have you received over the years that probably just do end up in the bin, right?
Yeah, where are all of those corporate gifts now that you've received over the years?
Mm.
And, you know, when you look around your house now, do you still have anything that you've received as a corporate gift? But well, where are they?
Yeah, I have some binoculars. I think that's about it. So there's a lot of ways that businesses can make an impact and can live and breathe their purpose. And one of those, obviously, is through a give back program. So the thing I love about give back programs is not just, you know, how they can reward high value customers, because you can obviously apportion some of your profits towards gifting and give your customers the choice of choosing what matters to them. But also, if you've got a team of people, if you've got employees, they're a really good employee engagement program as well, right? It's a great way of getting people together and fundraising for something that they collectively care about. What's your advice for a small business in terms of implementing a give back scheme in their business, whether they have employees or not?
First of all, to do it, because people do want to work for and buy from companies that are doing give back, that are doing the right thing by people and the planet. So whatever it might look like for your business, it's worth doing, and not just for your customers and your staff, but for you, you know, in the same way as we've just talked about. This comes from here, that we do all have this inner drive to have a positive impact, to do it for yourself, even if you're not doing it for anyone else. And then in terms of where to start, do start with your people, whether that is your staff or your customers, rather than you deciding which charities you want to support because they're your pet projects. It's going to have a lot more meaning and impact if you can start with the kinds of causes that your staff or your customers care about the most. That's why we set the Good Registry up the way that we did, so that when you give one of our gift cards to a staff member or a client, they get to use the gift card to choose which charity or charities they would like to support. It means that it can support a wider range of charities across New Zealand, not just one or two. And it also just means that really important power of choice is with the gift recipient or the community around the business that they're wanting to give the involve in their charitable donation making. There's one business that, you know, as an example, they are committed to doing a give back program, and they have a budget that's set aside to give to charities anyway. When they were small, as a team, they'd sit down and decide which charity they wanted to give it to, or charities they wanted to give it to. As they got bigger, it got harder and harder to reach consensus. So they gave every member on their team a $250 gift card from the Good Registry. So every single member of their team got to go and choose where their portion of that give back money went to. And, you know, you can do it through the Good Registry. There's plenty of other ways that you can do it as well, but just make sure that you start by really deeply understanding what it is that your staff and customers want to support, and not just giving them 3 choices, because that's not really a choice. If you've narrowed it down to just 3, that doesn't mean that if my experience in my family is with autism or dementia, that I have the opportunity to support that thing that I really care about. So how can you find out what really, really matters to the people in your community and ensure that those causes get supported? And then, yeah, do what is aligned to your business and what you can have a meaningful impact in as well. If you are making decisions about putting a lot of money into one charity, think about what can our business offer that is distinctive, and can we offer some skills and support around that money and how it is spent as well, because often charities need more than just the money, and you've probably got some skills and expertise that have led you to choose the particular charities that you are. So if you can support charities more broadly than just the financial support, that's a really powerful way to give back as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because actually especially if you have a team of people, there are volunteer days and
Mm.
win-win, right? So the charity gets a lot out of that, and they may not have the skills, like you said, that your team will have, but also it's a great team building exercise. It's a great way of bringing your team together.
And
are there any
people want to be part of something good, so let them help choose the charities, let them to help be involved in supporting the charities in other ways.
Are there any other examples or any more public examples that maybe spring to mind around who's doing this well? From a purpose-led perspective, but also from a marketing and comms perspective, because I know that you're also a purpose-led comms specialist. So I just wonder, is there anyone, like, are there any case studies that we could reference for people to take a look at? Not that we want to copy everything, but it's inspiration, right? And I think quite often there are some leaders in this space, and particularly from a marketing perspective, I know a lot of my customers do this stuff in the background, and that's fine too, because that's really purpose-led. But I don't think you should shy away from talking about this stuff if it is aligned with your brand and your product, whatever it is you're offering your customers. If there's a story to tell, you should tell that story. I know there's a lot of backlash and a lot of fear around not coming across as authentic, maybe greenwashing. Two questions in here, I guess, the examples, but then also with your comms hat on, how do you kind of overcome those issues?
First of all, don't be afraid to do it. I think that fear is often more of an internal fear than an external fear. Like, we actually don't often see people criticizing people for sharing their story when it's a good story on social media. People really enjoy seeing positive stuff on social media. And when you share that you are doing something good for charity, that's not just saying, look at us, we want you to acknowledge us for being good, and we only did this because we want that acknowledgement. It's actually saying, look at us, this stuff matters, and we, sharing our story so that others might see what's possible for them as well. So you can create ripples that go much wider from the good that you're doing when you share the stories of the good that you're doing. People love seeing other people doing good things, and when they do, it helps to inspire them to do good things too. So for the Good Registry, we'll always shout out any business that's happy for us to shout them out for using the Good Registry. And sometimes they will go, oh, we didn't really want acknowledgement for it. And I'm like, okay, we're not forcing you to do this. We'll only shout out the businesses that want to. But here's the reason why. It's not about you having looked for acknowledgement. It's about celebrating the businesses that are doing a good thing, and that it's inspiring other businesses to see that it's possible for them as well. So don't be shy to do it. Know that one of the good reasons to do it is that it does inspire others to do the right thing as well. Just take off that kind of like awkwardness about blowing.
It's a Kiwi thing, I think, right?
Such a Kiwi thing, it's about blowing our own trumpet, but it's not blowing our own trumpet, it's blowing the trumpet for the charities that we're supporting, so that we're increasing.
That's the distinction. Talk about the charity, not necessarily yourself.
We did this because this charity matters, and this was a way that we could support them with our skills and our resources. Do it. Don't be afraid to do it. When I think about kind of the good and the bad, it works when businesses are doing it for authentic reasons. It works when purpose is in their DNA. It doesn't work when businesses are creating negative environmental or social impacts with one half of what they do, and then they're saying, we're doing all of this give back over here, and it's clearly an offset for stuff that they're doing that's having a less positive impact. So make sure that it really is genuinely baked into your business, and that you really are aware of the wider impacts that your business has, and if you are having negative impacts, how can you address those in a way that is not solely we'll put some money somewhere else, but actually dealing with the negative impacts that you're having, and working towards reducing those negative impacts and increasing the positive at the same time. So one goes down and one goes.
Totally agree. I think, yeah, that's the key point, is to be authentic. People will see through, band-aids, right? If it's not in your DNA, if it's not baked into your brand and your values and actually what you truly believe in, that's when people do see through it. And it's not about perfection. It's not about doing everything perfectly before you can say anything. But yeah, a give back is definitely not an offsetting program.
And often it's just about starting somewhere as well, to your point of not doing it perfectly. It's okay. You don't have to be doing everything, but just do something and do it because it is from here.
Exactly. Yeah. On that note, we didn't get to the examples, but maybe I'll get them off you and add them to the comments so people can go and check them out.
Sure. I'll do one that I really love at the moment, and this is a new startup social enterprise that I just think everyone should go and watch, because their give back is totally baked into their business model. It's called Money Sweet Spot. They started about 4 months ago. It's a financial lender, which is about breaking the debt cycle. So many New Zealanders who are in the hardest kind of financial positions end up in the worst borrowing experiences when they need to borrow money, paying the highest interest rates. And Money Sweet Spot is working with those people to refix their loans and get them on the path to being debt-free. So their business model is about making people better off right deep down in their DNA. But they don't just kind of stop there. They're also giving every single one of their borrowers a good gift card from the Good Registry when they start their financial reset, as they hit their goals, because they knew that they wanted giving back to be part of their business model. And instead of them going, we're going to give $20,000 a year to charity, they've gone, we're going to give $20 to each person as they start their financial reset, and $20 as they hit their goals, so they get to decide where it goes.
I love that.
It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, great example. I've never heard of them. I'm going to go look them out, and we'll drop them in the comments.
Go follow them, and all of their comms are around the what they are here to do, which is to make people better off.
Love it. So that wraps up purpose. That's their purpose, right?
Yeah.
It's a great segue too into a masterclass that I'm holding next week when this goes live. And that's around the purpose-led business model canvas. So anyone who's interested in learning how to bake in purpose into your business model, we will cover it in this masterclass. Link in bio, or for Facebook, we'll add the link here. I don't know if you've heard of the standard business model canvas. It's basically your business model on a page. I've adapted that with a purpose-led business model canvas. So this is all about making sure, because I saw the flaws in that one was missing the kind of impact piece. So this one includes how to build purpose and impact into your business model. So if you want to join that, it will be on Wednesday next week, I think. Live, or there will be a recording. Jump in, sign up for it, and hopefully we'll see you in there. Thanks so much, Christine. I know we could go on for hours on this topic, but I wanted to give the audience just a taster of what is possible with purpose, and I hope for you guys it's given you some inspiration for injecting purpose, and maybe thinking about a give back program into your business, how to do it in an authentic and meaningful way, in a way that truly aligns with your values and what matters most to you and your customers and your teams. Hopefully I will be showing up live again soon, properly live, I promise. Please do let me know in the comments what purpose means for your business, and if you have any questions, I'll answer them below. Take care. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you. Mā te wā.